Hi, Brandon Walker. This is the More Cowbell Show on SEC Country. I'm not going to say the same things I always say because apparently Hannah thinks she could do my show because I say the same things every single day. So I'm not going to say the same things today. I'm going to say welcome to the studios of SEC Country in the city of Atlanta in the state of Georgia. It's good to have you here. Good to have everybody here. Good to be anywhere. Beautiful day outside. Hey, you guys know what today is? Race day. Race day. I'm racing Dave in a 40-yard dash. Dave.
Yeah, I know who Dave
it's
is.
out there.
He's probably going to win, though.
He's the one with the beard.
When are we racing?
Me and you?
When are you?
We're racing at 6:30 tonight.
I'll be long gone.
What's up, fam? Hail State from Liberty, Burnell McGee. Hello, Brian Sisk. Hello, Stephen Mills. Get everybody in here. Well, we're going to talk about signing day. We're going to, hello, Ken Nixon. We're going to talk about baseball a little bit today. I'll do some baseball. And what I like to do every year is get everybody ready for the season and the newcomers. And what I do is I go to the media guide and I look up the interesting facts about these guys and I'll just read them out. And these are not made up. They're not funny. They're just, you need to know these facts about your players, your new players. Hail State from Loveland, Colorado. Hello, Joe Goldman. Hello, Michael Clyburn. Michael Clyburn says, Terp, don't leave us with Landshark again. Hail State from Byram. Hello, Cale Pierce.
How was the show yesterday? I didn't watch.
It was fine. I did great.
Ladies' night again?
Huh?
Was it ladies' night again?
It was not. It was just lady night. It was only one.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was just her.
Beast.
It was awful. Yeah. She ruined everything.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't. You know what she did?
What?
So the show starts, and she plays the music, and she never tested the music in my earphones. So I couldn't hear the intro. So I'm just sitting out here like an idiot, and she's over in there doing her little bassoon or her little cello or whatever she does, and I don't know what to do.
Well, you should know that you don't hear TriCaster noise.
Today is Get Rid of Greg Sankey Day. Why are we getting rid of Greg Sankey? Why are we getting rid of Greg Sankey? I don't understand. Houston, Texas represent Jared Mansour. I think Greg Sankey is an outstanding commissioner. I don't see any reason to get rid of him. Hello, Brandon. Hail State. Jason Brinson. Hello to everybody. So we'll talk Hail State from Laurel. Benjamin McSwain. Where are the ladies today? It's all dudes. It's all dudes up in here. Greg Sankey is terrible. Okay, so it's I'm not going to get into that. Hannah Chalker is here. It's disappointing. Very disappointing. Go Navy and Hail State. Tim Lee is on the road in New York. Good to have you, Tim. Because SEC refs suck. Okay, that's actually a good point. I could get on board with that. Danielle Whalen Gauld says she is not a dude. Good. Did I call her Danielle? I hope I said Danielle. It's Danielle. Shannon Lisenby. Yesterday when you said your goal was to be a dumb, pretentious D-bag, I said, don't tell me he's flipping to Ole Miss. Pretty good. Hello, Lynn Rhodes Gilmer. Here come the ladies. Is Ted Valentine the worst official ever? Yes. The answer is yes. He wants to be bigger than the game. Hail State from Keesler Air Force Base. Grace Thacker Good is here. Good to have everybody. Jennifer Tipton. The ladies were just a little late. There's Carolyn Crane Lindley. They were just a little late today, but they're here. Both Shannons are here. Got the Shannon crew. I don't know. Got the Shrekking crew on the other side of the glass. Hello, Shrekking crew.
Hi.
Welcome back, Terp.
Thank you.
Where were you at yesterday?
Marlowe's Tavern.
Marlowe's Tavern doing a Dog Nation thing?
Yes.
How come Dog Nation and Georgia, they get to go out to restaurants and do their things, and I don't?
Because they have sponsors.
Me and you don't get to go to like Starkville, and well, I can get a sponsor.
We'll get a sponsor and we'll go.
I bet C's Candy would sponsor.
C's Candy. Let's go to C's Candy.
I bet they'd sponsor us. Conway, Arkansas. Greg Sankey said, if the gun laws pass, most teams would not come play at the Mississippi schools. I do know your brother, Danielle. I do. He used to be at the same church my wife and I got married at. Yeah, I know him. Hail State from Laurel. Ginger Tuck says, hey. Hello, Ginger. So we'll talk about, good. Thank you, Wade Glass. I'm going to get to that. Thank you for centering me on what I need to talk about. Signing day was yesterday, and I think it was a win for Mississippi State. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about who will play immediately. We'll talk about the sleeper of the class. We'll laugh at Ole Miss. We'll have a good old time. Then we'll talk about basketball, set the stage for what's coming this weekend. Then I'll do my little baseball preview I like to do. Today's top 5, my top 5 favorite games ever at Dudy Noble Field, the old Dudy Noble Field now that you can call it. So I'll do my top 5 games, and I'm sure you will have opinions as well. I'm sure you will. So we'll definitely talk about that towards the end. Apparently all of you on here want to talk about gun laws. I don't know why, but we'll maybe that'll come up too. And then I don't know why you would talk about it. Then you make half your audience mad no matter what your stance is. So I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do is talk about Mississippi State sports. And yeah, you ready? I said, are you ready?
Si, senor.
Let's go.
The More Cowbell Show, brought to you by SEC Country. And now, your host of the More Cowbell Show, Brandon Walker.
All right, Brandon Walker, More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. On this back wall here behind the camera, there's every helmet in the SEC outside of Mississippi State because I got them both here. So on the back wall, I got every helmet of the SEC looking at me. And right when the show started, my eyes went to the Ole Miss helmet, and I got really mad for a second. I don't know why. I just went bing right to it, like cash register or something. Just ding, and here I am. So now I'm all mad. But anyway, I'll get past it. We are coming to you from the SEC Country Studios here in Atlanta, Georgia. Got the Shrekking crew on the other side of the glass. They're doing a mediocre job. I'm doing a great job out here. We're going to have fun today. We're going to talk about signing day. That was yesterday. Don't know if you guys saw it, but it was in all the papers. So maybe you read about it this morning. Mississippi State signs what I think is a good class. I think right about where they need to be, filled some needs, have some concerns coming out of it. We'll talk about all that. We'll also talk about basketball, setting the stage for what the women's team can do tonight, what the men's team can do this weekend. And we will talk about baseball today. That's right, baseball on the show, because all week I have thought Mississippi State was starting the baseball season tomorrow. Well, they're not. They're starting next Friday. But I was ready anyway. And we'll talk about some things I want to introduce you to as far as this team goes. And then today's top 5, my top 5 favorite games ever at the old Dudy Noble Field. Now that old stadium has passed into the beyond, and we've got a new stadium that's in its infancy, we can talk about the old stadium and kind of put finality on that. But first, let's talk about signing day. Mississippi State signs a class that I think is an excellent transition class for Joe Moorhead. It is easy to forget. State had a lot of upheaval. They changed their coaching staff. They had to deal with another coach going to another SEC school and taking his staff that already had relationships. They had to fend him off for some guys. They lost a couple of guys to him. But it was a transition class bringing in a staff that had really never recruited in the South, and they had to steer this thing to the finish line, and I think they did a fine job of it. Signing day itself wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't a smashing success. It wasn't something like Georgia did. However, when you get Lovett, a 4-star defensive lineman, Fabian Lovett, a 4-star defensive lineman out of Olive Branch, you add Aaron Brule, a 3/4-star safety linebacker out of Metairie, Louisiana. I mean, that's a win-win. That's a win all the way around. You've got 2 building blocks for your defense in the future. And with Fabian Lovett, everybody I talk to, both in the high school ranks and the college ranks, thinks this guy is underrated. They think this guy has an NFL future. They think he is in the Jeffrey Simmons mold. That's exactly what Joe Moorhead said last night during his press conference, that Fabian Lovett is a Jeffrey Simmons clone. And that's big praise considering Jeffrey Simmons, one of the best players Mississippi State's ever had defensively. So I think Fabian Lovett was a huge, huge, huge positive thing for this coaching staff, for this fan base, for this team. Getting him back in the boat after that decommitment was a shot in the arm for this class. Overall, it's a good class. It met some needs. I'll get to the concerns in a minute, but the biggest need on this team for a couple of years now has been wide receiver, and that was addressed heavily in this recruiting class. You got 3 4-star wide receivers in Stephen Guidry and Malik Heath and Devontae Jason. You have another 4-star who could play some slot receiver if you needed him to, in Marcus Murphy. I'm thinking he's going to be a cornerback at Mississippi State to start off. You got another receiver that signed yesterday, John Corrice Patterson. It's believed he's going to go to JUCO, but you put him down there, you get him in a couple of years, or maybe he slides in at the buzzer, and you get him next year. You got another receiver. You also got your quarterback of the future in 4-star Jalen Maiden out of Texas. So you're filling your quarterback room. We did not have a full quarterback room last year. Now we're filling it back up. You got Fabian Levitt, who I've already said. You got Marcus Murphy. You got some building blocks on defense, and Jet Johnson, Jaden Crumity. Who's the guy? Devin Robinson. Excuse me, I might have gotten that name wrong. But I think if we talk about the sleeper of the class, if we talk about the one recruit who is not really getting enough play, I think it is Jaden Crumity out of Oak Grove High School. Mississippi State signed the top 6 players in Mississippi. And it's easy. We focus on Malik Heath, and I focus on Marcus Murphy a lot. And yesterday, we signed Fabian Levitt. That's 1, 2, and 4. But Jaden Crumity's number 3. He's the 3rd best player in the state, as ranked by 24/7. He is highly thought of, and he's kind of been an afterthought because when you look at the early signing period, the receivers jump off the page at you. Marcus Murphy jumps off the page at you, and there's Jaden Crumity, a 6'5", 250-pound defensive end who looks like he's going to be a stud in college. And we don't really talk about him that much. I think Jaden Crumity is going to be a sleeper in this class. And until yesterday, I didn't realize he was just sitting there at number 3 in the state. He was higher ranked than Fabian Levitt. But State swept the top 6 in the class in Mississippi. That's always good. You'd rather do it next year because it's going to be so good, but any year you do it, it's something. And this is not about cute hashtags like Mississippi Made that are in complete lie from somebody else. This is about going out and signing good players. And there were 6 4-star players in Mississippi this year, and all 4 of them will be Mississippi State Bulldogs. That's big time. And you got to give credit to Dan Mullen. Then you got to give credit to Joe Moorhead for keeping that up. Sweeping the top 6 in the state is a big deal. And it's not only a big deal for 2018, but now you see that Ole Miss has made this hashtag Mississippi Made, trying to win over the 2019 class, and recruits are going to see through it. Not all of them, but some. When Ole Miss was rolling with top classes, they were not really concerned with Mississippi. They were going to Georgia and Florida, and they were trying to be a national brand, and they thought they were, but it was a lie. We know that now. We knew it then, but now they know it too. But they were doing this national stuff, and now this year they're doing this Mississippi-made stuff, and they don't sign anybody of note in the state of Mississippi. And next year they're going to try to say, hey, come play Mississippi-made at Ole Miss. Get out of here with that crap. Offensive line is a concern coming out of this class. Quatrevius Johnson is somebody that we signed in December who is a 4-star. He looks good. But they took a shot. They took a shot yesterday on Cameron Jones out of Starkville High School. And I told you the text messages I received from high school coaches in state yesterday. Badass, mean streak. Mean streak was in both texts. Very good, and his best football is ahead of him. So there's something to like there. It's definitely a late shot. And if you're taking a late shot, why not take it on a guy from Starkville High School? I don't mind that. Doesn't mean he's going to be an all-ACC guy in a couple of years, but it also means if you're down to it and you got to go out and get a body, do it in state. Do it in your city. That makes sense. As entertained as I am over state success, and I'm happy that state really signed a class. They're ranked 24th in 24/7's non-composite rankings. As happy as I am for that, watching Ole Miss fans get their hopes up and getting lied to by their media once again, only to get crushed on signing day, was just delicious. It was so delicious, I might not eat today. I might not eat for a week. I mean, I am stuffed from reading Ole Miss fans just flipping out over a poor recruiting class. What did you think you were going to get? You hired an offensive line coach. You don't have a single coach on your staff that's ever been any more than a position coach in college football. And you have a kindergarten offense, the worst defensive coordinator in college football, and an offensive line coach doesn't know what he's doing as head coach. You thought you were going to go sign a top 5 class? what was the saying their media tried to pass to them? They're going to a gunfight, a machine gun fight with a butter knife. A machine gun fight with a butter knife. Well, that's because about 5 years ago, you bought every piece of ammunition in the world and tried to shoot everybody else off the map. Now you're paying for it. So enjoy your butter knives, guys. And put that butter on a big fat yeast. Okay, anyway. It was wonderful. I'm a State fan. I love watching State do good. That is my number one thing in the world. I love watching State win. Number two, watching Ole Miss lose. I don't mind telling you that. I'm not ashamed of that. I feel very, very good about that. And sometimes, depending on the situation, number two might feel just as good as number one. Let's go to basketball real quick. Basketball in great shape. Let's see. We have played 48 games in women's and men's basketball this year. 42-6. That is strong. The men 18-6. Every game from here on out is critical. I've told you the most important game left is Tennessee at home, and it is for RPI purposes, for good win purposes, for all of that. However, every game is critical. Every game. And with several games left, State needs to get to 22, 23, 24 to put itself on the bubble, to make the committee look, oh, wow, they got this many wins. They've beaten this many teams. You need to give them something, and every game's important. A win at Missouri would be huge. Missouri's a good team. They're right on the same bubble we are. They're right in the same area of the SEC that we are. And we beat them at home. They have got a well-coached team with Quanzo Martin. They've got a good team. They got a good home crowd. It will be very tough to go win there. I'd like to say, we just need to split over the next two games, and we probably do. However, I'm a little greedy, and I want this streak to continue. I think we can go up there. Our defense travels. When you have the best defense in the SEC, you're going to be in a lot of games, even on the road. So I feel good about the game at Missouri. I don't think State's going to win, but I'm not going to rule it out. This team has me feeling too good right now to just say, oh, well, I'm not going to watch because Missouri is going to beat us. I'm riding with this team. The way they play, how hard they've been playing lately, the team basketball they've been playing lately. We'll see. 1-1 over the next two games is essential, though. You can't lose at Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt's been playing very well at home. They beat Georgia to sleep last night. They're not bad. Their record's bad, and we beat them to death at home, but anytime you go to somebody's building, it's a different animal. MSU women tonight, Mississippi State at Florida, 24-0, looking for 25-0. I don't know how to speak about it without jinxing it, but we're talking about a perfect season now, right? I mean, you got through the road game at Tennessee. You got through the road game at Missouri. You got through the game against South Carolina, and you're undefeated. Now you're just kind of looking towards the finish line saying, I think we can get across that line without losing any games. Then you got the SEC tournament. That's a whole different ball of wax right there. So we'll talk about that later. But it sure seems like there's a tidal wave building, two tidal waves, one from Starkville, Mississippi, one from Storrs, Connecticut, and they're going to meet in Columbus, Ohio. It just feels like that. Right now, State is easily the number 2 team in the country. Not getting any first-place votes, but whatever. Number 2 team in the country will be the number 2 overall seed unless something surprising happens. They'd have to lose multiple games to probably lose that spot. And it just feels like we're building towards UConn, Mississippi State Part 3. Part 1 was a laugher. Part 2 was one of the most iconic games in women's basketball history. And Part 3 might be coming soon, and it might determine a national championship. Whew, that's big time. So baseball is coming up. It's coming up next week. Mississippi State at Southern Miss. That's how we're going to start the season. Maybe you're going, maybe you're not. If you can afford to go, you've got more money than I got. But what I like to do every year, because I'm not going to sit here and wax poetic about baseball, but I am going to tell you what I've learned about these players. And in the media guide, there's a bio for each player. And at the end, it has little interesting facts about every player. I got the newcomers here, the freshmen, and I went in the media guide and found the most interesting facts about every player. Let's do it. So, left-handed pitcher Zach Neff, they transfer from Austin Peay. And this is in his bio. His secret ambition is to become an Olympic skier, and his secret talent is juggling. What? An Olympic skier? Why isn't water skiing in the Olympics, by the way? Because I could water ski. Do people water ski anymore? Or it's all wakeboarding now, right?
That's what the cool kids do.
That's what the cool kids do. The cool kids were doing that like 15 years ago. I remember when we used to go out to the river and my friend would let me tag along and not spend any money. I would do skis. Everybody else was doing wakeboarding.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do wakeboarding. I look like a giraffe on roller skates trying to wakeboard. It's awful. Tanner Allen is a freshman from Alabama. His special talent is making turkey calls with his mouth. Now, I know what that means. I know what it means. I know it means putting the little thing in there and doing your clucking thing. And my mom was a good turkey caller. Yeah. Called her Mother Clucker. Anyway, so she put the thing in there. You make the sounds. But it sounds like special talent is making turkey calls with his mouth, that he actually builds them with his mouth, which is hilarious to me. Josh Hatcher is an outfielder from Albany, Georgia, I think, or somewhere in Georgia. His favorite food is zebra cakes. Favorite food is zebra cakes. Like, how is that your favorite food in the entire world? Those little Debbie snacks, with the stripes on them. Favorite food in the world. That's crazy. But if he hits home runs, buy him a bunch of zebra cake. Owen Lavelle, infielder. His pregame ritual is listening to This Cowboy's Hat by Chris Ledoux and eating Mentos. I'm just reading the bios. Like, that's the real deal. That's what he does. This Cowboy's Hat by Chris Ledoux. Now, that song will fire you up. I don't know. You've probably never heard it, Terp, because you're 9 years old and you've never been outside Maryland. But that song will get you fired up. But eating Mentos, I don't know. Jared Liebelt is a JUCO transfer. His favorite TV show is New Girl, and his favorite movie is Star Wars. What is New Girl?
Show.
A show.
Yeah.
You have really. I
Could
assume
be-
it's
is
about
it
a girl.
sitcom?
The New Girl.
I don't really know what a sitcom is. Probably sounds
Why?
like that.
Why? How is your favorite show The New Girl?
I don't know, that's pretty bad.
James Basham is a catcher. He believes in all baseball superstitions, and he listens to Taylor Swift as a pregame ritual.
Love some T-Swizzle.
I'm sorry. Did you say you love some T-Swizzle?
Yeah.
Don't ever talk again. All right. For the upperclassmen, got a couple more. These are from last year. Luke Alexander, our starting shortstop. His secret ambition is to be on the cover of Ducks Unlimited, and he wants his autobiography to be called Alexander the Great. That is a damn good autobiography title. That's pretty good. And I would like to get Luke Alexander on the cover of Ducks Unlimited. Tanner Poole, his celebrity crush is Jesse James Decker. Landshark, who is Jesse James Decker?
Eric Decker's wife.
Can you get me a picture of Jesse James Decker? I've never seen her. I know. I assume she's probably hot.
Yes.
But make sure she's fully clothed. Just let me see a picture of her. Hunter Stovall, who's a much more impressive person than anybody in this room, is a member of the FCA, has volunteered locally on behalf of his church, the March of Dimes Foundation, St. Jude's Children's. It's okay. You can do it. Say, whoa! That's her? All right. St. Jude. Woo! Hold on. Hold on. Wow. Okay. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and the Field of Angels Baseball League for Children with Disabilities spends its spare time participating in multiple charitable initiatives to benefit the homeless and raise awareness for breast and ovarian cancer. Hunter Stovall spent his summer volunteering in an assisted living facility and working as a volunteer baseball coach. Hunter Stovall, a better person than me or anybody in this room, probably anybody in this building. That's a Tebow-like bio. That is some kind of work. That is something else. Good for him. Keegan James, his secret ambition is to be a competitive duck caller. And his celebrity crush is Selena Gomez. I tell you what, that Eric Decker's wife, she's a handsome lady. She's a handsome lady. Oh, my wife. Hey, not as beautiful as my wife. I can tell you that much. My beautiful wife. So, let's go on to baseball. Today's top 5, my top 5 baseball games ever at the old Dudy Noble Field. Now, this is my top 5 favorite. Your top 5 might be different. In fact, somebody on Facebook Live already said one that I was not thinking of. But somebody said I was too loud when I made that noise. Sorry about that on the Facebook Live. But here's my top 5 favorite games ever at Dudy Noble Field. And I attended 3 of these. I did not attend 2 of them. But number 5, when Mississippi State set the all-time attendance record in 2014, the Saturday game against Ole Miss, down 5-2 heading into the bottom of the ninth, Mississippi State wins 6-5. Wasn't that great of a season, wasn't that great of a run. However, winning that game, the biggest crowd in school history, really, really neat. That was a memorable game. You can go watch it on YouTube right now. The ninth inning takes 18 minutes, where State scores 4 runs to win that game. Number 4, and this is my personal favorite, that maybe only I remember. And I was talking to Brian Haydad of Bulldog Sports Radio for this list, and I was like, hey, do you remember this game? He said, I don't remember it, but I don't discount it happened. I think it was in 89. I think it was in 1989. And I was sitting in Richard Williams' box seats right along the first base line. That's where my mom and I were sitting. And first row. And it was LSU, Mississippi State. Mississippi State wins 13-12 in 13 innings. I'm almost certain that's what happened. Of course, I was 10 years old. I do know one thing. There was a pop-up at one point, and Tommy Raffo came over, and it landed right in our box, and he reached over to try to catch it, and he hit me right in the face, and we both dropped the ball. So that happened. That definitely happened. Number 3, Mississippi State beats Washington in 1997 to advance to the College World Series. I had lounge access this day, which is a rarity for me because I'm a terrible person. Not a lot of people will have me in their lounge. But I had lounge access because I was dating a girl whose dad had a lounge, and he didn't like me at all. But I was out there eating all their food, and I'm sure the game was great too. Mississippi State beats Washington. All I remember about that game is I think Brooks Bryan making a catch over the right field wall. Big-time catch. Number 2, Mississippi State beats Clemson in 2007 to advance to the College World Series, Super Regional against Clemson. That was a fun series. That was a heck of a game. Was it Mitch Moreland that came in and closed that out? And then that guy rode that ridiculous bike across the field as State goes to the College World Series for the first time in 9 years, I think, at that point. And number 1, and I know your list might be different. You might have attended games I didn't attend. I certainly wasn't aware of regular season games or other stuff in 85. Somebody mentioned the 2000 walk-off win over Notre Dame. That's certainly one that I didn't attend, but I'm with you. But number 1, I'm not sure there could be a lot of debate about this one. This one really seems like it sticks out to everybody. Mississippi State 11, Florida State 9 in 1990 in what I believe was called the Southeast Regional. Mississippi State on a Saturday, huge crowd, State trailing going into the top of the ninth. We were the road team for this particular game. State trailing going to the top of the ninth, loads of bases. Burke Masters hits a grand slam. The greatest call of Jim Ellis's career, one of the greatest moments in the history of Mississippi State baseball, and certainly, to me, the most iconic game that was ever played at the old Dudy Noble Field. I don't think it gets any better than that. I don't think there's any argument over that. I mean, if there is, you can certainly give me whatever you got. But that game, Burke Masters, that home run, that Jim Ellis call, that crowd, I just remember the crowd going as nuts as I've ever seen a crowd go. Just talking about throwing people up in the air, and it was just an insane crowd when that home run left the yard. It was amazing. So that's my number 1. I wish we could find that call. We'll play that call one day. Maybe next week we'll try to find that call to play it and react to it because it's incredible. On the podcast, I want to thank you for being here. On Facebook Live, I'll reach right back out to you. Here I come. We're going to talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. We can talk about this list, how wrong I was, how right I was, how stupid I am, how ugly I am, whatever. We can talk about all that, but it's coming back to you. Next time, we'll be back on Monday for the podcast. My name is Brandon Walker. You've been watching. Jeez. My name is Brandon Walker. You've been listening to More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. All right, what do we got? Kevin Wright says, so the win over Washington was just because you sat in a box. Yeah. It was my personal favorites. It was my favorite games. Doesn't mean it was Kevin Wright's favorite games. It was my favorite games. And that smoked sausage off the grill was delicious. And it was a good game. And we went to the College World Series. I don't see how. Don't bring beef to my list, all right? My list is great. I was at that game. I was not at the Clemson game. I was at the LSU game I told you about, 13-12. Does anybody else remember that? It was a regular season game. There's no reason to really remember it other than the fact John Harden was incredible that day. Let's do a top 5 TV shows ever. We can do that one day. We can do that. Appreciate zebra cakes more, Brandon, says Wesley Coggins. I never got into like zebra cakes or anything like that. You know what my favorite Little Debbie snack was? Star Crunch. How bad is that? Do they even make Star Crunch anymore?
Don't know what that is.
Of course you don't. I was at the Clemson and Ole Miss games, none of the others. Well, see, there you go, Kevin Wright. You need to go to more games. Then you'll have a mature list like mine. I remember the LSU game. I watched it, says Ginger Tuck. I was thinking beating Arkansas to clinch the SEC championship in 2016, Jeremiah Body. Perfectly valid game to be on that list. Although, didn't we win it like 9-1? It was good to win the SEC, but it wasn't particularly a great game. The walk-off in 2000 against Notre Dame probably should have been there. Michael Clyburn says, I strongly dislike Ole Miss. Just thought I should get that off my chest. Michael, you are in a safe space right now. You're in a good space. You are welcome here. You are with other people who also dislike Ole Miss. We welcome you. My 6-year-old, some Star Crunch. Star Crunch is my favorite. Yes, they do make Star Crunches. Okay, everybody's on Star Crunch. Everybody loves the Star Crunch. Honey buns, says Brian Henry. Apropos of nothing, just says honey buns. I assume he's talking about the food. The win to send us to the national championship series. John McNeil, it wasn't the best Mississippi State wins ever. It was the top 5 games, my top 5 favorite games at the old Dudy Noble Field. So while yours would make that list, it was top 5 games at the old Dudy Noble Field. And again, I wasn't aware of things in 1985. I was 6 years old. I think I remember my dad taking me there, but over the smell of marijuana smoke and other stuff, I just don't remember the game very well. Remind me to tell you about my dad later, Terp. From the team colors to the mascot to the snotty people, I hate everything about Ole Miss, says Michael Wright. It sounds like we're getting a little miniature therapy session here of just people getting their Ole Miss hate off their chest. Oh, yeah. Question, Terp. Where did Mississippi State finish and where did Maryland finish in recruiting?
27th. And we finished 28th.
Right.
So you're only one spot better than Maryland.
But we are better than Maryland.
But you're only one spot better.
Better than Maryland, though. That's better than being one spot worse.
Yeah, I guess. But, I mean, you're only one spot better than us. So.
I mean.
How many national titles do you have?
How many national titles do you have?
1.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks. Just because the Baltimore Board of Aldermen said you guys had a national title doesn't mean it's so.
Sorry,
everybody all right, if everybody – apparently there were 77 years in the 1950s because 200 teams claim a national title in the 50s. If a team says, we have a national title and you can't remember it, it's damn close to certain it was in the 1950s. That's when all of Ole Miss's fake titles are. That's when Maryland's fake titles are. Everybody has a fake title in the 50s. Were they handing out national titles like candy in the 50s?
1953.
Let's get a top 5 reasons to hate Ole Miss. You want me to narrow it down to 5? Top 500 maybe. I could do a whole week of shows on that. We have too many state colleges in Mississippi. Matt Luke beat Mississippi State, and Ole Miss thinks they got Johnny Vault. Bless their hearts. Maryland has a better class than Ole Miss. True story. That's true.
Preach.
That is true.
NBA trade alert. Are you interested?
Who is it?
Isaiah Thomas and Channing Frye to the Lakers for Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance. Cavs win that trade big time.
We'll talk about that off the air. My favorite foot and mouth moment was having Ron Polk tell me I should walk onto the baseball team when I arrived in 2001 to MSU at the 2000 regional, and me not knowing who the old man was and telling him I was going for ROTC. My brother about knocked my head off and made me read the center field board. Yes, Corey Dickey, that is a good story. That is a good story. Sarah Banks says, how good will our men's basketball team be next year? I think it'll be really good. I think over the next 10 games, it can be good this year. it is certainly starting to trend upward. We're finally I don't even know if we see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think we're out of the tunnel now, and we're just kind of in the open air. I think the men's basketball team will be a tournament team without question next year. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means how high they'll go. But listen, Auburn went from not making the tournament last year to being probably the SEC champs this year. Could we make a similar jump in Howland's fourth year? This is Bruce Pearl's fourth year. Yeah, I think we could. Don't necessarily mean I think we will. I just think we could. Are we allowed to curse on here? If not, I'm sorry. Of course you are. I'm not. Matt Weisinger says the top 5 reasons to hate Ole Miss. In order here. They are Ole Miss, they are Ole Miss, they are Ole Miss, they are Ole Miss, and hotty toddy. Pretty good list. Not a bad list. Landshark, what is a hotty toddy?
A drink. Hot toddy is a drink.
Right, right.
It's hotty toddy is our. I'm just saying whatever she says. It's like Roll Tide for Alabama.
Yeah, but Roll Tide is 2 words. Hotty toddy is this ridiculous 80-word cheer that just it basically helps you identify the douchebags in the room.
Hotty toddy and the cheer are 2 different things.
What?
Hotty toddy is like a hello, and the cheer is like a.
Yeah, okay, I'm done with that. I'm done with that.
She tried.
Yeah, and don't try again. Maryland lost to number 4 Oklahoma in the bowl game in the 1953 season, says Derek Whitford. So there you go. In your national championship year, you lost your bowl game.
We still are champions, though.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, we are.
I bet you anything.
Alabama lost to Auburn. They're still champions.
I bet you anything in the world, that Maryland's not the only team to claim the 1953 national title.
Let me look into it.
Look
I'll
up.
Be back.
Look up 1953 football national championship. I bet there's at least 3 teams that claim that national title. How could you be a football fan in the 50s if everybody got a national title?
Literally one team.
Hail State from Dubai will be back in Hattiesburg for barbecue and catfish Saturday. Good for you, Buster.
1953 college football season on Wikipedia has champion 1 Maryland Terrapins.
Glad you'll be back. Definitely need to go good eating in Hattiesburg. Good restaurants down there. All right, everybody get off hotty toddy. I don't want to talk about Ole Miss anymore. I don't want to talk about it. Done with that. But wasn't it funny how poorly Ole Miss did in recruiting yesterday? They thought they were going to get a top 10 class. Their recruiting reporters were telling them they led for everybody. They lead for everybody, and not one of them went to Ole Miss. You know, at least our recruiting reporters, when they say something, it's usually going to be pretty true. It's usually going to be pretty true. Do we have a couple sunshine pumpers? Yeah, but not to the extent of just out-and-out lying that happens on the Ole Miss beat. All right. What's for, y'all want to go to the Cox Cafeteria today?
It's not Wednesday, so no.
It's good every day. I don't know why you just go on Wednesday.
There's no pasta on any other day. Facts.
Who are the good signees and who are the in-the-air signees? Well, I don't know about in the air. I think there's varying levels of good. I think the receivers are all what you would call good signees. Certainly yesterday, Cameron Jones got an offer at the end. He was a guy that the coaches extended an offer to late. Did he get an offer because other guys didn't commit to Mississippi State? Probably, but does that mean he can't be a good player? Listen, Dylan Day was this type of player. Evelyn Jenkins got a last-minute offer. So, I don't know. I don't think there's a such thing as an in-the-air signee. I think we're good. I think we got some solid players here.
Hey, you want to see a video?
Of what?
Brought to you by SEC Country. And now, your host of the More Cowbell Show, Brandon Walker.
So, yeah, that's Monday. That is Monday, and I spilled my drink. And
I love that.
Right there, I'm realizing I got to do a whole show, and somebody's going to play this. More Cowbell. Or you were like just going to play it on loop?
We're going to play the whole show.
I don't know what to tell you. I was drinking it, and this table is ridiculous. Okay, because it's curved. It's curved, you see. Right here, it comes to this, and over here, it comes to this. So I'm like putting it over here, and it just falls right off. And the damn thing was so slow in the way it fell off.
See, everyone's reacting to it now, but no one commented on it
Nobody
live.
commented on it when it happened live. Like, nobody noticed it hardly when it happened live. But it happened. And not if you were here, you'd get me another water, right? You'd have Nate go get me another water.
I'd have someone get
Right.
get you a water at some point.
Yeah. Oh boy, I don't know what you guys want to talk about. Not a lot of activity today.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I got a 1:30 meeting, so I don't have much time.
Got about 63 minutes till that.
Your math is excellent.
Thank you.
The Maryland math department,
A+.
much more successful than its football program.
I was still national champs in 53.
No, you weren't.
Look it up.
No, you were not
Look it
national
up.
champion. Oh.
Type in 1953.
What's stopping
Football season.
Mississippi State from just claiming a national title in the
'Cause you didn't
1950s?
win one?
Everybody else does.
You didn't win one?
Everybody else does. You didn't win one either.
Yeah, look it up.
Defense to look forward to? Yeah, I think it could be the best defense in the history of the school. I don't think that's really overselling it. Adding Chauncey Rivers, who everybody says is just as good as Montez Sweat, to Jeffrey Simmons, to Gary Green, who I think is the forgotten man. Then you got Leo Lewis, who was great as a freshman, took a step back as a sophomore, but in his junior year, he could be something special. Willie Gay and Errol Thompson, I think, are going to be special at linebacker. Mark McLaurin was underrated this year. Yeah, I definitely think that this defense is going to be something like we've never seen before at Mississippi State. Tim Dahl says he's eating at Twisted Burger. That's a good restaurant. If you're ever driving on Highway 45 in West Point, you're ever going from Tupelo, Starkville, or somewhere else, stop by Twisted Burger in the Mossy Oak Mall. I didn't even get paid for that. Maybe give me a burger when I come home, would you?
Sure.
Next year 9-3, following year 10-2, then 11-1, 12-0. Yeah, I don't know about that. 2018 looks to be the peak. Whatever happens in 2018, I definitely think we'll take a step back in 19. Hopefully, Moorhead won't allow it to be a big step back, and he'll pick right back up. A little late to the party. Hail State from Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico. Jeremy Dees. We have a lot of Air Force Base people here. We have a lot of Air Force people that show up, or military base. I've got one in Alaska. I got one now here in New Mexico. So thank you for being on the show. Terp, if y'all get one, we get 1941. Yeah, we should claim 1941 anyway. That's on us for not claiming it. If we let Alabama claim it, Alabama lost 2 games and finished number 20 in the AP, why don't we get to claim it? The mother walked out on her son for signing with Florida. She hates Mullen too. Now she has to give the money back to Saban. I think the second part of that is probably a lot more accurate than the first. I don't know if she hates Mullen. I think she was just probably in love for what she might have been in line to get at other places. That's what I think. I have no factual basis about that. I don't know. But it sure seemed like that. And it really, when you think about it, if that were the case, and we don't know it was, doesn't that make you feel dirty all over? That coaches would play a player against his family? That feels, I don't like that at all. Now, we would let recruiting go too far sometime. How many projected 5-stars in 2019 class? Here it's loaded. Well, in Mississippi, I think Charles Moore from Louisville will definitely be 5 stars. Nakobe Dean from Horn Lake, definitely a 5-star linebacker. There might be a couple more that get to 5 stars. Brandon Turnage in Lafayette County. Maybe somebody I'm not mentioning. Nathan Pickering, possibly. But there are definitely a lot of 5-star potential in this class, and Moore and Nakobe Dean are already there. How do you think Tennessee will do? So Jeremy Pruitt got hired, and once he started getting early signing day. He got some good recruits. They didn't finish up well in recruiting, though. They didn't finish up well in recruiting at all. And if he's not going to be able to recruit at a top 10 level, they're not going to do well at all. Not going to do well at all. In fact, all over the SEC, most everybody was disappointed with their recruiting outside of Georgia. Maybe that's because Georgia got them all. Maybe Florida and Alabama, their class couldn't be as good this year because Georgia got them all. That's very possible. I mean, they got like 27 5-stars. and flip every player they could possibly flip. It's like a gymnastics team over there with all the flips. But Georgia Georgia kind of took all the good recruits, and Tennessee was left wanting. Florida was left wanting. Alabama, the worst class they've had in years, I think 10 years. It was only number 6. Poor Nick Saban. How's he ever going to manage? What did we finish in recruiting? 24 and 24/7s non-composite, 27 in the composite. Is Dean leaning anywhere? Yeah, I think Ole Miss has probably got the early lead, but it's a long time till signing day. And Dean is one of those guys that will also, I think Ohio State's after him. I think Alabama's after him. Tennessee's after him. Everybody's after that guy. All right. Land Shark, you ready? All right. Good stuff. Had a good time on the show this week. Had a good time on the show today. Enjoy always talking to you guys about Mississippi State sports. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for making this possible. I really enjoy getting paid every 2 weeks, and it's something special to me. So, for now, I am Brandon Walker. You've been watching More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country.